Okay, hello. Let's talk about the books that I read in December. So, it looks like I read only 6 books in December. Like, we kept it real chill with all the holiday shit going on. So, anyways, it looks like the first book that I read was Graveyard Shift. It's this little novella, which I like. It's a horror thriller, but like, I don't know. I wasn't that into this. Like, I didn't feel like that much happened in this book. It's really like it is in a graveyard, as it says. There it's in a graveyard, and everybody's like an insomniac. Nobody's sleeping good. And then like weird shit goes down in the graveyard. Except like the way that it happened was it's weird, as expected. But like I don't know. At no point did I feel like I don't know any thrills like you would from like a legit longer thriller and stuff. Like I don't know, this just it wasn't enough of like anything to me. So I just gave it 3 stars. Like it's not like horrible, but I also was just like I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't long enough, I guess. So I don't know. It didn't really work out for me. So yeah, I only gave it 3 stars, and I'll probably be unhauling that. After that, I listened to the audiobook of The Seventh Veil of Salome, and this book was weird. It was weird cuz what do you mean we're putting weird sex dances in a religious movie? So this is about Hollywood back in the day. I think it's like the 40s or something. Anyways, everyone was really racist. Everyone was really racist. It's they're still kind of like segregating people. Like our main character, she is Mexican, but they don't like that because racism. Also, there's a lot of sexist stuff in here. Men acting like, oh well, I bought you flowers, now you owe me favors. Just real gross behavior. Like not treating women well. She is treated poorly in this, and just like she gets on the bad side of this like really racist white lady who like wanted her role in this movie because she's a movie star, and she gets put in there, and the lady like tries every kind of way to shit talk her. The way that she's talked about in the news is also like racist and ugly. Like it's just ugly. There's a lot of ugliness, and then there's rivalry and stupidity, and yeah, I mean, it was an interesting little book, and I was like, what the hell is going on here with these crazy ass people? So, I ended up giving this a 3.5. It was worth the read, but, yeah, definitely a little bit different from my usual. But, anyways, that was that. After that, I listened to the audiobook of Scrooge for the Holidays. So, that was basically a Scrooge for the Holidays is basically a Christmas Carol retelling, but make it Polly. And instead of like ghosts, the 3 ghosts are Nephilim, so they're half angels, half human, and they live in this like town that really only lets you in if you need help from them. Basically, it's a town of Nephilim, and so she's the Scrooge. She's a workaholic. She's kind of like lost herself in work, trying to like prove something to her parents or whatever. It goes through all that shit. So you go through her like traumatic life experiences and stuff, and there you go. It ended up being cute in the end. So yeah, but yeah, that one's Polly. So I give that one 4.25 stars. After that, I read Blood and Steel, which this is different than what I expected because the way that people have like raved about this series, I kind of expected more from the first book, but at the same time, it is very apparent to me that this is like a setup book, which I haven't read in a while, one of these, but like I know that used to be more of a thing with fantasy books, where like the first one's like we're getting all the world building, you're finding out everything that's going on, you're getting the lore, and then the story really starts. So this one, the jury is still out for me about like how I really feel about this series because I feel like this was a setup book. So I'm gonna need to read the second one to really know. So if stuff started happening at the end that made me want to continue, but like the whole time I'm like, why is she into this grumpy dude? Because okay, so first off, I also thought the setup was a little bit weak, to be honest, because This one, the main character, you know, she's a woman that wants to be with the war swords, which is basically like the trained soldiers, and but women are not allowed to do that in this world because there's a prophecy that like they're basically gonna be the ending of the kingdom or whatever. So she's not supposed to train at all. Like they don't want her holding these weapons that can make this prophecy come true. So basically, women are not allowed, right? And so she has to convince people to let her in because they're like, no, dude, like, we're not risking the whole kingdom for this. Except then a series of events happens, and then they're like, yeah, sure. Personally, I think that was still stupid. I think that was still a stupid decision. I understand why he did it, but it's also a stupid ass decision. The king in this is like, I don't know, maybe a little too grateful. Because I'm like, you're gonna risk your whole kingdom for this? So, for I'm gonna be dead anyway, whatever. But I don't know. Like, it just make it make a little bit more sense, please. So I don't. I feel like this set's a little shaky on that one because I would not like. No, if I was ruling this country, I still would have told her no. To be honest, I've been like, no, I can't risk all these lives for yours, for your like dream. Basically, we're laying it all on the table for that. That's crazy to me. Crazy. But anyways, that's what happens, and then she basically has this like romance with the guy who ends up training her, except like the dude or like the dude that she was like traveling with and stuff. But like this dude is so emo. Like I'm kind of tired of dudes being emo, being like he's like, well, he's also just like all gung ho about her dream. All these men are all about this lady's dreams all of a sudden. So the king and the not the king, the love interest in this is like, well, we can't date because I have to make sure I train you real good and blah, blah, blah. Like, excuse me? Multitasking is just not this man's strong suit. So, anyways, we're just gonna see how this goes because right now I'm like, what? Be so for real, man. Be so for real. So right now, I mean, it just things feel a little forced, and so I'm not entirely sold on this yet. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. So this one I gave 3 stars because you know it's it's a little weak, but that's just my take. So there's that. Ooh. And then after that, I read A Fire in the Sky. And this one I liked a little bit more. So this one, you know, another fantasy romance, except in this one, the dragons have all been killed, supposedly. And our main character in this world, and like magic is like no no no, like witches have been burned at the stake kind of stuff. So they don't want magic, they don't want dragons, they don't want any of that stuff. And so our main character, she can heal really fast, which is super sus. And so, but like she gets a pass for some fucking reason that I can't remember right now. But she gets like a pass even though she's sus, but she's the whipping girl. And so, you know, being able to heal as a whipping girl is valuable in this situation because there's like 3 or 4 princesses and she's getting whipped on all their behalves. But they're like, whenever the guy who's in charge of the Borderlands area, the king of the Borderlands, I think he's called, he shows up and is like demanding a princess to be married to. Like he's trying to strengthen relations because these people need help. They need resources and stuff. So he's trying to strengthen relations by marrying one of these princesses, but they are prejudiced against him. They're like, oh, those barbaric borderland people. So yeah, it's just pure stupidity. Even though they're all part of the same fucking kingdom, apparently. Like he went to his king, and he's like kind of like the lord of that area, I guess. If you go by like the feudal system stuff, I guess. So, anyways, he's just trying to get resources and shit, and they're like, nah, fuck y'all are savages. Even though they're the ones defending the border. You think you would care a little bit more because that is literally the entryway to your lands, but whatever. So anyways, that shit happens. They trick him into marrying the whipping girl instead because they were not going to sacrifice their daughters to no barbarian. So he gets tricked into marrying her, and basically it turns into like their whole love story, and there's a whole lot of bets out on like if she's gonna make it back and da 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 da. And she's kind of a dumb, she's naive as hell. She's naive as hell because she did grow up in the palace with the princesses, so she doesn't know that much about the world, and that's definitely to her detriment. But she's doing her best. She's doing her best, trying her hardest. Duty is very important to her. She's just like, well, at least I'm equipped to take the punches because these girls are not. Which I thought was like, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. So, yeah, I liked that part at least. But yeah, she's very naive. Um, but luckily for her, the Borderland man is not horrible and it is a romance. So, this ended faster than I thought it was. I mean, like, I guess at a different point than I expected. So now I'm really curious about what's going to happen in the next book because there's a second one. And I picked that up and I'm going to continue this for sure. So I gave this one 4 stars. And then after that, the last book that I finished in December was An Arcane Inheritance. I had the Arc. And so that one is a fantasy book, so there's magic in that, right? But that one is a dark academia, but with magic. So this one, our main character, she's at school, at this fancy school that she's there on a scholarship, but basically she's running into all these magical circumstances, and she's kind of in denial about having magic, and it's all this trying to figure out how she can control her magic and what's going on at the school, because she can kind of she'll walk into places or areas of the school and then sort of see memories of the areas and stuff and flashbacks, and basically it goes through this whole oh shit, magic's real, but also I need to study, and girl is stressed to the max. She's having a rough time. It's not a good time. This book definitely deals with some hard topics because there's some racist shit in this book. What else? Racism. I want to say there's sexism too, but anyway, it's kind of a rough story. And it's not gonna be for everyone, but it. I ended up liking it, and I appreciated that our character had personality, and she's she's not an idiot. She's trying to figure stuff out, and trying to see who can she trust, and she's going through a lot of typical stuff you would go through at that age, which I felt was good and realistic. Yeah, you don't fully know yourself when you're still in college. You're finding that. And so I think that was a good representation of that. So this one I gave 3.75 stars. There you go. So this ended up being I guess decent, the books I did read for the most part. But yeah, it was 6 books, and that's everything that I read in December. So I'll see y'all next time.